Hello and welcome, world. I should probably turn me up. Hello and welcome, world. Hi. Hello, welcome. I am DM Dan. This is Tales from Elsewhere. Our regular live streamed Daggerheart Actual play wasn't meant to be a campaign but became one. Hello, welcome if you're watching us live. I am joined tonight by Nate, Livy, Georgia, Theo, and Dan. Hello, 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 hello.
Hello. Hello.
How are you all?
Hello.
How are you all doing? You all good?
Ready to fight.
Ready to fight? What? Why? Is it like the finale or something?
It's almost like the finale.
Something like that.
Something like that. Well, yes, absolutely. I've just realised I've left my notes on screen. Bear with me one moment while I delete those.
Let me look.
Don't delete the chat, he says in chat. Cool. Yes, we are here. We're at the finale of our regular live streamed Daggerheart sort of campaign that is a campaign. We've been playing together as a group, playing Daggerheart for quite some time. So I'm quite excited to bring it all together in this episode. A real super quick recap. You have journeyed to the blasted wastes of Merethesos alongside the Archmagister elect Ganus to a ruined temple of Naravid, the deity sometimes known as the Doomsayer. Within that temple you were thrown into a bizarre crystalline memory of the past of that particular location, and you were horrified to find that within that temple was a dragonspawn of Wenda-Hai known as Eindrirth, who some of you have met in the past, some more intimately than others. Looking at you, Alfrek. And you managed to escape that mana memory. You managed to escape the ruined temple that happens to be built on top of a volcanic caldera. How careless of them. You've made it back to Avamore in pursuit of Ganus, who turns out to be a bad guy. Who would have thunk it? And you have followed him to none other than Alfred's hometown of Seldavon, a sleepy little town that survived the eschaton at the end of the cataclysmic war. Just over 18 months ago, and also somewhere that you visited in the past. In the town centre of Seldavon, you have found Ganus along with some additional kind of acolytes and initiates of Wenda-Hai, the Beguiler, and combat has begun. You've discovered that the arcane artifact that Ganus had you kind of tricked you into charging for him has created another crystalline mana memory rift of Seldavon, and those of you who've jumped in have discovered that the memory that has been conjured is none other than Eindrith's fight against the Archmage Ulick, which you believe, some of you believe / know, is the final conflict between the Dragonspawn and the Archmage of Seldavon. And that's pretty much it, really. I think that's a whistle-stop tour. Yeah. Combat has been joined. We paused it on a bit of a cliffhanger. Who would like to watch the intro video and then jump straight back into it? Yeah?
Let's do it.
Amazing.
Let's go.
Before we do, if you're excited or intrigued by this and you're watching this, make sure to hit the like button and the subscribe button if you're over on YouTube, or follow us if you're over on Twitch. Whilst this is the finale, this is certainly not going to be the last thing that we do, so I wouldn't want you to miss out. You should definitely stick around, get your notifications up so you know when we're going. But with all that said, let's begin the finale. All across the unknown world, rediscovery pushes ever onwards to find the lands and people lost. All thanks to our brave explorers.
Hi, I'm Dan, and I'm playing Vanya, the Wolfkin Warrior.
Hey, I'm Livy. I'm going to be playing Rayri, the Sprite Ranger.
Hi, my name's Theo and I'm playing Cal, the Sangvar Guardian.
I'm Georgia, and I will be playing Alfrek Stormhall, a Dragonscent Bard.
Hi, I'm Nate, and I'm playing Azakar, a Majani Seraph.
And my name is DM Dan, the GM in these adventures. The further we go, the more we learn of these magical tales from elsewhere. And so, we rejoin the 5 of you theoretically in one location, but perhaps split, separated by a veil of a crystalline veil across reality. Very specifically, we return to Cal, Vanier, and Rayri, as the 3 of you have just brought your arms up to shield yourself from what you would expect to be a devastating torrent of breath from the dragonspawn Eindrirth. This coiled, green-scaled, serpentine dragon that's kind of seemingly floats above the ground, 2 large, curved horns, very ram-like, protruding from his forehead. And as this as this blast of kind of gaseous breath flies towards you, stood in between you and the dragonspawn is the purple robe wearing elderly Lorivar, who's currently stood with one wand up in defiance of the breath weapon and a staff crackling with lightning in his right hand, as Ulick prepares himself for the next kind of assault from the dragonspawn. But first things first, I need Vanier, Cal, and Rayri to make me instinct reaction rolls, please. Okay, we have a 9, a 15, and a 9. So, as the breath... and I'll also roll for the Archmage. A 13. Okay, a 15, beg pardon. Okay, as you go to shield yourself, you almost expect this kind of this burning pain or this chilling cold to kind of arc across your bodies, but instead, as the breath as the fumes kind of waft over you, you suddenly feel your body feels light whilst your mind starts to feel heavy, and your minds are racked with devastatingly fearful hallucinations, that as your mind doesn't know, can't tell foe from friend. You can't tell if the shapes around you are people or threats or what. All 3 of you need to deduct 2 hope if you can, and you all take an unreducible 19 damage.
Yikes.
As does Ulick. Okay, so Ulick kind of recoils much the same as the rest of you, and as Eindrirth, sort of like as the torrent finishes expelling from his mouth, his long face kind of twists into this kind of rictus grin. And you hear his booming voice say, "All of this might of yours to fight this war, but your undoing will be your own. as you're kind of assaulted by this kind of a mental attack. Cool. That is that's Eindrith's turn. Who wants to go next? So Rayri, it was your turn, but who wants to take over from Eindrith? So the three of you, obviously, in this sort of like mana memory version of the town square of Seldavon, will quickly switch to show that Azakar is stuck in a shadowy alcove in the town centre of Seldavon, as is Alfrek. Who's currently stood in a circle of runic power that has blasted away the seeming sort of like mage assassin of Wenda-Hai. Yeah, who wants to go next?
I mean, if no one's jumping in, I'm gonna go jump in.
Jump in, jump in, go.
I would like to move Vanya to the little Eindrirth.
Okay.
The mini Eindrirth.
Okay, so in which case, yeah, as your mind sort of like clears and the shouting and the screaming in your head kind of fades away, you notice that to the dragonspawn's right is this smaller, seemingly smaller, almost like ethereal, like crystalline version of Eindrirth that's kind of glowing and emanating the same rainbow hues as the rest of this conjuration of sorts. But yeah, this smaller Eindrith is kind of a little floating up in the air and is watching you watching you with interest.
So yeah, I'll move myself up to him.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see if he can be hit or not.
Okay.
So let's see, where's the character? I've got no hope, so then I've got nothing juicy to use on the ability wise. So yeah, let's just go for a hit.
Okay.
So yeah, you see, as we've all been washed over with this horrible breath weapon attack, Vanya takes the initiative to push forward through the mist and charge towards this ghostly form, and coming in with a icy, windy punch attack. Let's see if I hit. No, I have to roll the dice roller first, don't I? To do the, and then it's the.
And then it's the gauntlet button.
So roll your strength button.
I rolled 13. Oh, did that? Oh wait, no. I need to add something to that.
Yeah, you haven't.
Plus 4. So that is a 17 to hit.
17 to hit
with hope.
With hope. As you go to swing at this small crystalline Eindrith, the dragonspawn sees you coming, and whilst your blow seems true, the dragonspawn just sort of wafts away out of reach, and your fist swings at air that was previously occupied by the dragon scent. You do get the hope though.
So does it look like I felt like I missed with the attack? Right.
Yes, it was a miss.
Or, yeah, okay, got ya. So we know we need to get more than a 17, which is good to know. I'm trying to select my token, but I keep selecting Eindrirth. I'm can't seem to select my own token. There we go. Sorry, just gonna edit the hope on that.
Mm-hmm.
Right, yeah. So yeah, unfortunately, my hit didn't seem to connect, and I look back at the others as is everyone okay?
Cal gives a thumbs up.
Cal's thumbs, a bit disorientated, but definitely seems okay for now.
We've taken a quick glance back to make sure that you two aren't on the ground. You will try and keep engaged with this with Eindrirth.
Okay.
In melee range.
Who wants to go after Vanya?
I would like to propose a tag team with Libby.
If you got
I
hope,
still have enough. I have hope.
don't-
I have 4
I
hope.
don't have any hope.
Might as well spend it now because otherwise it might get taken away. So I'm suggesting you use me as a propeller with Vinny as you have done before. And whilst you attack from on high, I attack from low as a kind of double attack thing.
I go for the head, you go for the toes.
Exactly that.
Okay, so does Ravy want to take what is effectively a second activation in this round? And yeah, but that's fine. I think realistically we can do 2 activations per round, so I've just added those in for everyone. But okay, we'll switch over to Rayri. Yeah, as you sort of like, yeah, in the aftermath of you being buffeted by this breath attack.
I think Rayri feeling this kind of sort of horrible sense of dread is sort of swallows it down and just takes it as an opportunity to just go out all guns blazing. And she looks at Cal, and Cal knows what's going to happen as
Cal knows.
Vinny takes 2 steps back, 3 steps back, 5 steps back to get a running jump and boost off of Cal in Rayri's new signature move, the jump and chomp.
Okay.
So I'm going to boost off of Cal. And use my signature move, so I can roll a d20 instead of a d12.
Okay.
And yeah, I would like to roll for that, please, sir. Okay. So I can, if I use with boost, I can go. I have advantage.
Okay.
As well.
So if you're doing that, Cal, how are you tag teaming?
So I feel like as that's happening, I feel like it's happening as we're running.
Yeah.
So we have to actually work in synchronize. So as I'm running, you're running behind me with the stepping back as well as you leap. And as Rayri leaps with Vinny, I like come by Vanya and I just take a massive swing with the dagger and the broadsword. So I'm also a distraction for Eindrirth whilst this is happening. So that is my plan.
Just double check. Are you going for the large Eindrirth?
Little one.
We're going for the little one.
Eindrirth.
Okay.
Yeah, but we're going to take our chances with little Eindrirth for now because big guy is going to kill us if we keep standing near him.
Okay.
Cool. With my attack, I would like to activate a few things first, however, before I roll anything.
Sure.
First of all, I'd like to activate my unstoppable feat. So I now have a die that means I gain resistance to physical damage, increase my armor score, cannot be restrained or vulnerable. So that's happening.
Okay.
So that's the first thing. Second thing is where's it gone? So I've been a fool this entire time and haven't used one of my abilities, so we're going to use that today because why not? Let's do it.
Sure.
So one of my abilities is dedicated. So since the very beginning of this campaign, as an Orderborn, I have 3 sayings or values that I can use to change one of my rolls into a d20. Now, Cal hasn't been using those because he's not been feeling it, because he's been not really feeling into his oath, but his oath's been reawakened because of everything that's happened recently with his gang. So he is trying to uphold the weak, defend the weak, which is one of his principles. So now my hope die is now a d20 die when I roll this next attack. Also, I'm adding my experience with my last one hope of the blade. So that's a +1 on my roll as well with a d20.
Is this like one of those beat 'em up, like Donkey Kong and Smash Bros, where you just stood there winding up Hold.
Basically.
Hold.
Yeah. We're going for the forward button smash combo.
We are
We're just
basically, yes. So I'm going to be rolling my usual, which is my agility plus.
So if you just do it straight in Foundry, D20 plus D12, and then I'll look at the results manually to let you know if it's hope or
Cool.
fear.
I will do that.
Rayri, you've got a button to do your D20 roll.
So
Oh, do I?
You've got a signature ability button.
I do. And I have advantage.
There's a D12 for you.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, that was that's right. Okay.
And then that's a +1, +3, so that's +4
Okay.
with.
So, Cal rolled 29 with hope.
Yeah.
I rolled 17 with fear, so let's go with Cal's row.
Okay, so 29 with hope. So, as the two of you, you move in synchronicity as you both sprint. Cal with your just superior speed, Vinny being fast as heck. I imagine there's a moment where you kind of cup your hands together, just below your waist, to give Vinny and Rayri the foothold to then launch them towards this coiled, kind of ephemeral, crystal-like version of Eindrirth. I'll move the two of you kind of close enough. Rayri, as you go kind of soaring past, soaring through the air, and Cal, you attack from the bottom. Funnily enough, a 29 with hope will hit.
Oh, good. And with that, I'm going to mark a stress.
Okay.
So that we can have, when dealing damage, you mark a stress to take the maximum value of your damage die instead of rolling it.
Holy moly. Okay. Okay.
Which has that whole thing about Spellrender and broadswords together is a thing. I always forget how that works. So damage die.
I'll
So
do my
it
damage.
does. Does Eindrirth count as an arcane magic user, or is he a creature?
I mean,
Just checking.
it would be very cheeky of me to say that he doesn't count as one of those.
Good. Okay. Cool. That's fine then. It's So it does it. Do I combine then the damage on the broadsword and the Spellrender together? Because they've been done together. Was it 3d8 plus 5?
Yeah, so if you click the dual wheel button, that factors in attacking with both weapons, and then you add
I'm getting
+3 on
but
top
then-
of it.
Which I would normally do, but it's not because I've added a stress. So now it is just
Oh, okay.
the
So
max of 3d8 plus 5. So a 16, 12...
I think it's +5 plus another 3 on top of that again.
Yes.
So
Yes,
it's
please.
3d8 plus 8, which is 24, 32. So 32 damage.
It is indeed.
32 damage
Yes.
from Cal. Okay, and Rayri has done 27. So 32, 27, 59. 59 damage.
Good.
As the two. While I look things up, tell me how this looks.
Yeah. In terms of Cal, I think very much if Eindrirth is focused more on the incoming missile that is Rayri and Vinny, Cal sweeps with his broadsword and brings it up underneath, and I guess we know he's kind of spectral. Is that right? So
Yeah.
or crystalline. So even though
it's almost this, so it's odd. It's this almost smoky version of the huge dragon spawn to your right, like he's this incomplete form of the dragon spawn.
Well, in that case, he just brings up, and I think he slices at one of his legs as he kind of slides in.
Okay.
Slices at one of his legs, trying to chomp like a big gash right into it, and then slams as well in the knee with Spellrender.
So in which case, let's just say as Eindrirth is sort of like wafted away from Vanir to get out of sort of like fist range, Cal and Ravy, you've then kind of bolted in where he's kind of elongated to give himself the momentum to kind of push away, almost jellyfish-like. The two of you have then collided like meteors into both ends of the dragon scent, and this small kind of the smaller version of Eindrirth is rocked by the attack, and as you plunge Spellrender into like Eindrith's leg, he roars with an intensity much louder than you would expect it to be, and you wonder if it's the magical properties of the dagger that are affecting more. 57 damage, unsurprisingly, is severe damage, so he takes 3 hit points. And as the two of you sort of like lands flanking Vanir, looking up at this dragon scent, which is sort of like spiral, like it's kind of wafted away and is spiraling to kind of regain control, as Eindrith kind of throws his arms back to steady himself, there's this burning intensity in his eyes. And as he looks down at you, Ravery, very specifically, you rolled with fear. We didn't use your roll.
We didn't use it.
You didn't use it, but you did roll it. So, first things
Leave
first.
baby alone.
Oh no, that's the. No, never mind that. That's not that one. It is.
Don't look at that. Don't look at
Don't look at that. Don't look at that. I'm reading it. Yes. Sorry. Rayri.
I know you were.
Oh, is it? I just it's the same thing. It's the same thing. It's just popped up. Rayri. I'll just read it out. As you stare up at Eindrith, your mind still feels slightly clouded, maybe from that breath weapon attack. Describe the memory of the fearful memory that has risen to the surface of your mind, and describe it to me. Like what fundamental deep-seated fear has bubbled to the surface that has not bubbled to the surface before?
I think she is sort of planted back to being in her like hometown, and her dad is like looking at her with mass disappointment after she has caused a large sort of wreckage in the town square, and it's that kind of massive fear of disappointing her dad and wanting to be like this amazing adventurer, and she's just sort of fudged it all up, and everyone's just kind of looking at her, and she just feels like a massive disappointment, and I think that's her greatest fear.
So as that fear rises to, like, you almost feel it bubbling up like bile in your throat, and as this memory suddenly seems slightly too real, too vivid, and then within the memory, almost shadow-like, you spy the form of Eindrith amongst the crowd, and in your mind you hear, "Delicious." He learns this memory, he learns of your fear, and Rayri, you, as you land alongside Vanir, you are then you vanish from the manor realm and are redeposited in the town centre, the town square, along with the other mages. And that is the end of your collective turns. Who wants to go next?
Quick question.
Yes.
Where's Cal gone in Foundry? He's just disappeared.
No, he's here.
Is he? Oh, I can't see him. I was really confused. It's fine.
Okay, we'll sort that out in a
I
sec.
couldn't see him in Patrick.
We'll sort that out in a
It's
sec.
like, what happened to my boy? Where did he go?
Yeah, who wants to jump in next? Azakar? Azakar or Alfrek?
Yeah, I'll jump in next.
Okay.
Sorry, I just rearranged myself. Azakar seeing himself, just him and this, is it like an assassin or?
Yeah, so he moves. Well, you're an Iron Soldier, so you know that in front of you is an operative that was an operative that you would have seen during the war. These individuals are known as the Fangs of Wenda-Hai, and they use kind of arcane magic to teleport around. They kind of pull people through shadows. Their main role was sowing kind of discourse and confusion in the enemy ranks, but they also very much they use their abilities to pull into important individuals away from their defences and then attack them whilst isolated.
Right. I guess then seeing that and being very aware of what kind of operative this person is, Azakar is going to go into Iron Soldier mode.
Okay.
And use his Iron Soldier experience to add a +3.
Okay.
So I'll take a hope off. And I am just going to give him a good old whack with my scimitar.
A whacking.
Oh, whacking.
Give him a whack.
No whack. Okay, so that's got a +3 to it. So that is
I think you've rolled the normal roller rather than the strength one, so add your strength on as well.
Yep. My strength will be a +3, so that will be
20?
17, so yeah, 20 altogether.
20 is a hit.
Nice. Let me just check one little thing just to make sure that I can still do this. Yes, I would like to mark 2 stress to turn that into a hope roll as well, please.
Ooh, okay. So, yep, you go back up a hope. Cool. Yeah, roll for damage.
Nice. There you go. That's 27.
27. Okay. So, as this fang has just sort of like dragged you up through the shadows in the floor, in this sort of like little nook, has just sort of like vaulted off you to get some distance, but yeah, before this fang has a chance to react, you're in, and as you drive the scimitar through, that is severe damage. The fang like takes an extremely heavy blow, and severe damage. He looks in a terrible state.
Good.
I should also then say, as you're stood there, you've got this kind of magical sensitivity innately from your kind of Majani physiology, and like you feel that kind of head rush. You felt that head rush when this portal to like the memory realm open, that everyone's kind of, you saw Rayri and Cowl and the like jump through, but you feel this new surge of energy that you pick up on, and peering sort of like alongside the building and up like northwards towards the other side of the town hall, the town square. You watch as Rayri reappears through a crack in reality, and then the crack that she appears through enlarges and also turns into a magical vortex above what appears to be the town crier's stage, on the north side of the town square.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just before we carry on, and because it happens every session, I need to re-roll my prayer dice, but I just want to double check whether or not Alfrek still has those 4 prayer dice from last session.
I think he used them.
Did you use them? Fair
Am I wrong? I think he used them. Yes, I think he used them to nix a terrible bad roll.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think
enough.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Azakar, are you staying put with the Fang, or are you running off?
I would like to run off if he. So, if I can move, how far can I go?
So while the squares are green, basically.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to run as far as I can up to. Oh, it's because that's in the way. Okay. Bloody walls. There we go.
And as you run through, there are sort of like panicking commoners that are like kind of fleeing the town centre, the town square, because it would appear that rifts to another dimension are tearing themselves open. Cool. That's it for Azakar. Who's next?
I think it's me.
Go, Alfred, go.
So the the screen has gone black for me, so I can't actually see anything on Foundry. But I will make do.
So, okay, if you do a quick refresh, I'll describe the scene. You're currently stood in the middle of your runic circle.
Yes.
Immediately kind of south of you is the Fang of Wenda-Hai that dragged you through shadows. There are there's a Majani commoner, there's a Asavar commoner. They're sort of like reeling away from your runic circle and this assassin. They appear to be sort of like scrambling for cover. You've just, like, I guess you might have heard Rayri's sudden high-pitched voice as she comes tumbling through a rift. And yeah, this almost what sounds like glass breaking, but you're not entirely sure why it could be legitimately glass breaking. But yeah.
Also not great. I think Alfrek wants to get this situation over with as quickly as possible. He wants to go see what's happened. So he's gonna unsheath his rapier.
Yep.
He's gonna stab at this assassin.
Okay. As you step forward within your runic circle.
Yeah. It's gonna take a second.
If you do a presence roll, because that was a damage roll.
Sorry, everything's moving very slowly on my end.
That's
There we
all
go,
right.
that looked like dice.
Okay, that's fair. 18 with hope is a hit, and you've rolled 11 damage, which I can comfortably tell you is enough to... so this Fang has just been sort of like blasted back by your runic circle, looks utterly singed and kind of frazzled by the sudden... kind of defensive magic that sprung up around you, and before the Fang gets a chance to ready themselves, you've lunged forward and the rapier sinks into through thin cloth and squishy flesh, and the Fang kind of looks up to you from behind a face mask with a shocked look, and then slumps, goes to put a hand on you, and the hand's blasted back by your shield as he slumps to the ground. Kaput.
I'll take my rapier out of this body and just sort of sprint in the direction of where I think Rary is.
Okay.
Or whichever is the closest thing I can see.
So as you come around the corner, you see Rary and Vinny stood next to the town criers stage on the north end of the town square, but the area that the town, like the stage, occupies is warping and seemingly kind of folding in on itself into this shattered rainbow stained glass like vortex rift that's just materialized. Cool. Just real quick, can you see in Foundry now?
Yes, but it's so slow it's basically unusable, but I can sort of see.
Okay, cool.
I can make do.
We can make do. And Theo, can you see?
I can see fine.
Okay, going around. Right,
no issues.
in which case, after Alfrek, you also roll with hope. Who's going after Alfrek? You guys are just bossing it.
So I know, Rayri, you did a tag team with Thea. So if you wanted to jump in now, Rayri, might be. Seeing you haven't really had a go. If you want to jump in, it's up to you.
Well, Rayri was the.
I've had two activations. Yeah.
Oh, if you had two, okay, sorry, my bad. Oh yeah, because
I got one at the start of last session, so I like.
Yeah, got yeah.
So Vanya, Azakar again.
Okay. So yeah, I'm happy to jump in again if no one else is going to go. So yeah, I'm going to use this chance to go for another hit.
Okay.
On the spectral being. Now, Vanya, knowing the importance of being in front of this enemy right now and having missed his first hit, there's that adrenaline pumping in him again, and almost that sort of like predator versus prey mentality taken over. And I'm gonna spend my one hope to add my experience, Thrill of the Hunt.
Okay.
To add +3 to this roll. So that takes away that hope. Let me just take away the hope on this. Cool. So let me roll. This will be made with a +4 plus another 3. So this is going to be a +7 on top of this roll.
Okay. So if you click strength, it'll add your ability mod in.
Oh yeah, I keep. Yeah, so I'll do the strength and then I'll +3 from my experience. Yeah, sorry, I keep forgetting. There's that one. Oh no. 16. I know, doesn't it?
A 16 with fear. Have you got anything to judge it?
Let me think. No, I used an experience, and I don't think I've got anything else that can add to it. I've got no advantages or anything like that.
In which case,
unfortunately, the roll.
How much do you think you're going to need to hit him?
Well, I've got 16. I know 17 doesn't hit, but so it's probably going to be at least 18 or more.
I will be the party pooper and say that for all intents and purposes, you're not in the same place.
I wonder what Vanya's doing.
Yeah.
In which case, Eindrirth is sort of like arms out by his side, his tail swishing in an like an agitated cat almost. And Vanya, as you sort of like bring your arms up and go in for a second strike, as your fist kind of flies forward, Eindrirth holds a clawed hand up, and Cal, you watch as Vanya disappears through, almost seemingly like the air in front of Vanya seemingly breaks as if he's just punched through a pane of glass, and you watch as Vanya tumbles through this rift back into real space. And Rayri, you hear, like, you've just seen Alfrek kind of come around the corner, and then you watch as Vanya sort of like materializes and like punches the leg out from the town crier's stage, and like the wood just splinters under the Wolfkin's assault. Yes, that was a miss, and you've rolled with fear, so I will go ahead and add one to my pool. Vanya, you're back in the real world, quote unquote. Rayri's next to you. There is a rift in front of you. There is also a rift behind you. What I'm also going to do, and as most of you are here now, I'm going to go ahead and choose a target. So let's say, oh, none of you are close enough, I don't think. No, okay. So, Gannis, seeing you sensing that a rift has just broken open, he's going to run round this statue, this gaudy statue of Archmage Ulick in the centre of the town, seeing the three of you, and he's going to seeing the three of you lie like arrayed in a row, he then sort of like shouts to the other cultists, "Stop them!" As he conjures three sort of like motes of energy and then fires them forwards towards you. I need the three of you to make agility reaction rolls, please. So Vanier, Rayri, and Alfrek.
Nice.
So 17, 20, and 22. Cool. So you managed to dive out the way of the majority of the explosion, so you're only going to take half damage, and that is plus 10. So half of this, which is a 13 damage to the three of you.
Boo.
Boo. I'm gonna spend an armor slot to bring it down to minor, and I'm gonna make my roll as part of my Wolfkin ability to see if I can take no damage instead.
Okay. As you do that, the commoners.
Great. No. I take a hit.
Okay, so that is Gannis going after Vanier. I'm then going to I'm on a roll, so I'm going to spend one of my fear to switch back to Eindrirth. And Cal, it dawns on you that you are now all alone with a dragonspawn. And curiously, like, you've just laid into this smaller version of the dragon scent. So this one here, and as you've like in the commotion, you've just seen Vanier and Rayri kind of disappear from sight. When the large dragon scent to your right seemingly looks in your direction, and there's this noise of confusion that emits from Eindrirth as he sees this smaller mimicry of himself. "What is this?" he says. The smaller Eindrirth, you wonder if perhaps the smaller one is the real one. It's not part of this memory, you wouldn't have thought. Panics slightly. And Claw, first of all, attacks you, Cal, for rolls a 16 to hit.
16.
Against your evasion.
Yeah, 16 hits, yeah.
Okay. And you take 31 damage.
No, I don't. I'm using my armor slots.
Okay.
The ones I have left.
That's good, because if you do not reduce it, you take stress. So yeah, this crystalline kind of memory tears into you, and sort of like knocks you away before sort of like reeling round to his larger form, and sort of like in the least kind of convince. Well, I say in an attempt to be convincing. Archmage Ulick is the key. Kill him. Tear him down. And the two dragon spawns are just sort of like looking at one another, and yeah, there's a lot of confusion. You hear
That Spider-Man meme.
Yeah. Fundamentally, it's two dragon spawn, like looking at each other curiously as he swats you backwards, Cal. How was Cal doing?
What, emotionally, mentally, physically, all of those bad.
Sure, okay.
Yeah, bad.
In which case, like, as he kind of knocks you down, Eindrirth has told Eindrirth, it's like the Men in Black 3 movie. Eindrirth has told Eindrirth what the deal is. His relentlessness kicks in, and the two of them circle round to Ulick, and I'm just gonna go ham, boys and girls. Ulick takes a 14, which is a miss. So the smaller Chrysaline, the smaller Eindrirth comes along, and Ulick blocks him with a shield. The larger one, the memory one, rolls a 26. That's a hit, and Ulick yells out in pain as Eindrirth like clamps on his arm, and you hear like the arm holding the staff, and Cal, you hear the sickening crunch of bone as Eindrith's jaws clamp shut on the mage's right arm, like right forearm. Ulick takes 33 damage, which is severe. Ulick is like collapses to the ground, like holding his limp, hanging right, like torn, shredded right arm as the staff clatters to the ground. You do get this, Cal. You get the feeling that they're really targeting this archmage. I'm done with that. Who wants to go next? I think it's Cal. Cal's the last one before we move to a new round.
I think it's me. First of all, just processing this and trying to figure out what he's going to do.
Mm-hmm.
He is going to, because he got pushed back, but I assume he's still close enough that he could probably reach out to Ulick. Can Ulick, because obviously the dragon spawns can now see each other. Can Ulick now see Cal? Like, is it obvious? Because obviously if the dragons can see each other, I'm assuming that Ulick can see me.
So the archmage is on the floor, holding his shredded arm, and he's like looking up at what seems to be identical dragon spawn, just one's glowing in sort of like smoky rainbow hues. But yeah, there's a moment where he does, like, he looks over at you, and Cal, in the time almost freezes for a moment as the two of you lock eyes, and there's this flash of confusion on his face, almost as if he recognizes you.
Okay. Just trying. I have a play here, but it's quite risky if it's not useful. Okay. Okay. So, I'm going to rush forward towards this.
Mm-hmm.
And as he does, he shouts at Ulick, look, you're good at this! You win this! You win this! You're going to win this! You have to win this! And I'm going to use that as Soldier's Bond, which means that I can get 3 hope from that. Technically, so does Ulick.
Okay.
So hopefully that's fucking useful for him.
Sure. Sure.
And then I'm going to attack the little dragon again, because there's nothing else for me to do.
Okay.
Because this man does not back down from a fight, and there's no one else here, so he's just going to keep on fighting.
Okay.
So yeah, he's going to attack the little one. With that in mind, he's going to use his experience. Now he's gained 3 hope to add a +3 to his roll. So yeah, so again, Spellrender, broadsword, slamming into the little one. Cool. That's 21 with fear.
Okay.
Hang on. Have I got anything that I can change there? I'm just checking. Because I know how horrible it is to roll a fear in this place. I don't, but... No, you know what, I won't. I'll save that. That might be useful. Cool. Okay, yeah, so I hope that's hit. So yeah, that'd be a 21 plus...
Plus 3?
3.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that is 24. 24 does, in fact, hit.
Oh, good.
Roll for damage, add your bonus damage for spell render into a magic user.
Yeah, hang on. So yeah. That's 20. And also I can add my unstoppable die, which that becomes 22.
22, plus another 3 for your dagger. So 25 damage all in told, yes?
Yep.
Okay. In which case, as you run forward, like yelling to Ulick, like giving him a pep talk while as he's being assailed by 2 powerful dragon scent, as you plunge the 2 blades into like a real Eindrith's back, you hear the dragonspawn roar again. That is major damage. Eindrith loses another 2 hit points. And like as you sort of like wrestle with this dragon scent, as this dragon spawn, as he thrashes with these 2 blades lodged in his back, Cal, you feel your vision begin to start crystallizing, and as Eindrith's like elbow swings round and connects with you, kind of dislodging you from his back, you are thrown backwards, seemingly through this pane of glass. And as you watch, like the 2 dragonspawn, as you watch this crystalline memory world fading away and being replaced with the real world, you watch as the 2. As you go, I'm gonna re-interject, spend another fear to drop me to 0. Yeah, as you're flung backwards, you watch as the large memory version of Eindrith rears up, and with a seemingly triumphant roar, he flies up 180s to arc directly to the ground, and you watch as Ulick disappears into the dragon sense maw. And as you hear as Ulick will be crushed, because I've got 3 attacks but I won't bother rolling it, you are tossed unceremoniously back into the real world. I do not do a teleport, so you're going there slowly. Yes?
Did Ulick have a turn during our last round?
He did. When Ravy first turned up. Yes, yeah. So, Cal, you are thrown back into the real world. As you land on the cobblestone streets, you look up to see the statue of Ulick in the town, like in the town square. But you notice that in your, like where you effectively were jettisoned from the rift, like from the memory, another rift has opened. You know what? This poor commoner is a bit too close for comfort, so he disappears into the rift.
He can fight for us.
And that's the end of Cal's turn. I think I'm just going to move to round 3. And the 5 of you find yourselves all back in Seldavon Town Square. The mages are still present. There are now 3 rifts. And the sky overhead begins to darken as I will add a new combatant to the initiative tracker.
We've got enough.
Have you though?
No.
Yeah.
From
Good, we're fine. Thank
We
you,
got a big
though.
guy. We got a little guy. We got all
from
these other guys.
from the rift that you just fell out of, Cal, a shadowy crystalline, like a shadowy chroma, smoky form emerges,
Oh.
and Eindrirth appears in front of you, his shadow casting out in all directions from the light emanating from this rift. And it would seem that having defeated Ulick, Eindrirth is reborn. So, with that in mind, who wants to take the first turn?
Just as a heads up, Cal looks like shit.
Yes.
Like,
Riri also looks pretty bad.
Before anyone does any attacking things, I think Alfrek would have started to do this before the massive dragon thing appeared in the sky.
Okay.
So, as it comes out of this portal, you hear the strains of this very relaxing violin tune playing quite frantically on his violin, and everyone gains a hit point.
Okay, so we'll start. We'll start Alfrek. Alfrek can start our round off. So as you play this rousing song, everyone can gain a hit point.
Is that in like a certain range? Because obviously I'm not very close.
Any close allies, it says.
Okay, so everyone but Alfred, Azakar.
Gotta run into the area of effect and get there.
That's right.
And as you're playing that song, like some of the commoners that are around you that are just absolutely losing their minds with panic, they seem slightly heartened, so they're leaving in a slightly more orderly fashion. But yeah, they are extricating themselves from the combat arena. Alfrek, you've played this tune. Is there anything else is that your action, or is there anything else you can do?
That is his one action that he can do.
Okay.
Yep.
Would you like to move?
I cannot see where we are. I think he'll move to stand by everyone else.
By the people.
I think that's what I've just done.
Sure. Yeah. No, perfect. So you're stood next to Rayri and Vanya. I will say that now that Eindrirth has re-emerged, we'll get rid of these portals. That will just confuse things otherwise.
I want to go back in a pool. I don't want to be here.
What about that random commoner? It's just gone.
You know what?
Dave.
You know what?
Dave.
Fine. I reckon. Let's make it a bit more appropriate. Not only has Eindrirth emerged into real space, having been reborn, but he's done it over the statue, like the statue of Ulick in the middle of the town has just been sucked into this vortex, and that is what Eindrirth is currently floating above.
So rude.
Very rude. Very rude of him. So yes, Alfrek, you've joined your companions. Who's going next?
Just want to make a quick note. Remember, everyone, I don't remember throughout this whole adventure anyone using their healing potions or stamina potions that you got from character creation.
It's true.
Double check your equipment. Some of you might have healing potions on you.
You've got an energy drink on you.
Yes.
yes, I do.
just and also,
It's yeah.
does it take an action to consume a potion?
I mean, you would expect so.
Well, in new D&D, it's a
Well, is there anyone who doesn't want to drink a potion? Because I can search while you do your turns.
I don't want to drink a potion.
Okay.
I absolutely do.
Okay.
I'm
We'll
good, you don't need
switch to Azakar. What's Azakar doing?
Azakar has just seen, obviously, like Gannis do this attack at sort of 3 of his team. So he's just running up to try and make an attack at him, but then obviously seeing Eindrirth up here, he is then going to kind of go like, okay, we've got bigger dragons to fry.
Yeah. I mean, as you make it into the town square proper, sort of like, you know, commoners running in your, like, past you away from the town square, you've just seen this thin serpentine figure emerge from this rift. Gannis has turned round and, for all intents and purposes, fallen to his knees and looking up as, "My lord!" he shouts, like he cries up, his hands in sort of like subjugation to Eindrirth. And yeah, there's this.
What a simp.
As Eindrirth like looks around, there is this kind of resonant, "I am returned," he bellows.
With that, I'm going to do a bolt beacon at him. I'm going to spend 3 hope to make that into, or to also add smite to that. Along with that, I'm also going to use my community ability that Theo also has, so my Audborn dedication, to use my 3 words of eye as light to hopefully let my blade strike true. So I'm going to roll with a D20 for hope, instead of a D12.
Okay.
And what else can I do to really mess him up? Let's have a look. No, I'm just going to do that. So I'm going to roll with a D12 first for my fear. Bump.
Real quick question for Dan: do these potions say use an action?
It doesn't specify. It's just in equipment. It's a consumable, and it just says immediately clear 1d4 hit points.
In which case, because it does not specify use as an action, you can drink like a potion for free.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Bloody.
One potion, so I'm not going to let you.
We're all just there chugging away.
I'm going to take
just looking around like,
potions.
This is going to look like that final Pokemon, like the final Elite Four Pokemon battle, where you're just frantically stimming your Pokemon with potions while you're having the absolute snot kicked out of you. Okay, sorry, Azakar. We've upset the mood. Right, you're doing a bolt beacon.
Yes. So I've rolled a 2 for my fear.
Okay.
And I'm rolling my D20 7. So that's. I'm just trying to sort of think at the moment. That's a 9.
Yeah.
Plus 3.
Yeah.
So that will make it
12.
a 12.
Finn, is that the end of the?
No.
You got prayer dice, right?
I know. I'm going to whack all of my prayer dice onto that, which is an extra 8 onto that.
So you're on 12. So you're up to 20.
So, and plus my with plus the plus 3 for the spell casting, so that adds it up to
23. Okay.
I'm guessing that will be enough, maybe.
I think so.
That is a hit.
Yay!
So I am going to. So I rolled okay with my hope. That's okay. I rolled higher with my hope. That's all right.
Yes, Chris. Azakar is just throwing religious tomes at this dragonspawn.
He deserves it. He deserves it. I'm also going to cast my second wind with that as well, which means because I rolled a successful strike, it means I get to clear 1 hit point or 3 stress.
Okay.
I'm going to clear 1 hit point.
Okay.
And now I'm going to do my blast. So that's a 15, that's doubled, so that's a 30.
30 damage. Okay. As you fire off this beam of like Aya's light towards Eindrirth, the beam strikes the dragonspawn in the back and sort of like it splits over his emerald scales, but the force of it still rocks him. 30 damage is major damage, so he loses 2 hit points.
Nice.
And he is temporarily vulnerable.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So you rolled with hope, so make sure you've tacked that on. And who wants to go next?
Me. I got an idea. Please, guys.
Please, please.
Please, sir. Yeah, unless anyone has something pressing they want to go, I would like to take the turn.
No, go for it.
So, here's the turn of order. Vanya quickly looks at Alfrek and Rayri and is like, keep a safe distance. Me and Cal will try and pin him down somehow. And he lunges forward as he chugs a potion for free. So that's a 1d4 of hit points. Come on, give me a good roll.
Hey.
I'm back to full hit points.
Ah, the start of the campaign. A fine vintage.
It's been in your bag for a very long time.
That was a good year.
It was a good year. And as I move up next to Cal, and towards Eindrirth, I look at Cal and I say, we've got to protect everyone else. And I think it's up to us to pin him
Cal's bag
down.
is like bleeding out of his face.
Yeah.
And I don't think I can think of anyone better to join in this moment. And I'm trying to use my soldier's bond to give both of us 3 hope to begin with. And
Okay.
I would like to suggest a tag team.
Okay.
Should Carol fancy it? Where's my hope? Yeah. So now Carol's got hope. Yeah. Would you be up for a tag team, Carol, by any chance?
Absolutely. What's the plan?
If you spend free hope to join on with me, and we just beat this furniture.
The plan is fighting.
As long as I'm allowed to drink my potion at the same time, I don't care. I need at least 1 more hit point. Yeah, but sure,
Well,
that sounds good to me.
I mean, if you're tag teaming with Vanya, then like it wouldn't be your turn, but you can make your
Sure,
rolls, and then you could immediately, as long as
Yeah, take your
both
turn
don't roll
afterwards.
with
Yeah.
fear.
Sure.
Because I can't
Okay, yeah,
interrupt
that's
now.
fine with
So
me.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm going to spend as we gain the free hope, I'm going to spend a hope to use my experience again to as the blood boils down, and I'm going to say, let's do our rolls, and then we'll describe what happens.
First of all, can I just point out that if Eindrirth is vulnerable, that means that everything that targets him we have advantage.
yes,
Oh yeah, we got plus D6 on top
Correct.
of our rolls.
correct.
Buddy, yeah, right. Let's do
So
this.
just so that it's also clear that we get advantage. So okay, I would, I just hit him then with my 2. So it's
20 and 30. I got a 31 to hit with hope.
jeez.
Where's the plus? Is that from your experience as well?
Yeah, I used the experience, so I've gone back to. So I used 1 to gain 1, but I'm going to add it to my Slayer die.
Sure. Okay, so 31 with hope.
Yeah, I also rolled with hope, but we're going to go with Vanya's, obvious.
Yeah, it was a middling 19 with hope. Okay, 31 with hope.
Yeah.
That's a hit.
31 with hope. Yeah, and I gained a Slayer die, so I'm going to add a Slayer die to this attack. So yeah, let's do our damage, and then I'll describe how it all plays out.
Cool.
Do I have any? Yeah, it's like...
I feel like this is the most scrutiny your character sheets have had since we started playing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like, oh, I do that.
Also, I'm going to use my versatile fighter to mark a stress, so it's maximum value of my damage dice again. It doesn't say I can't use it more than once, so I'm saying that I can do it more than once.
Sure.
If that's
Sure,
okay
sure.
with you, Dan.
Yeah.
If it said per long rest, I'd be like, yeah, sure, but it doesn't. So.
No, that's fine. So we got
Cool,
16 from
so-
Vanya.
Yeah, magical damage. 16.
Yeah. So.
Oh yeah, I forgot my Slayer die. That was it. I knew I was forgetting something. I need to add a d6 to the damage. Oh wow! It's 17.
Oh no!
Okay. 17 damage from Vanya.
Cool. So mine would be 24 as the base standard because I'm using top level of my damage dice.
Yeah.
Plus my unstoppable, which is now at +3.
So 27.
That's great. And then it's +5 for my Spellrender and Broadsword. Is that right?
So what's the normal damage? It's 3d8 plus 3d.
It's 3d8 plus. Well, it's 3d8 +3, and then plus.
So 27.
+3, yeah.
So 30. So 30.
Yeah, we'll say 30. That sounds good to me.
Sure.
Oh no, plus another 3 because of the unstoppable dice.
33. Okay, so 33 plus
yeah, 33
17
plus 17
is 50 damage. Only 50 damage. What are you lot doing? Oh. Okay.
Baby.
Yeah, describe that severe damage. Talk me through it. He's still up, but talk me through it.
So yeah, I give this little mini speech to a cow, and we just click our necks.
Absolutely.
And I can imagine Vanya goes for like a leap to like punch the tail down to pin. To give a chance and freeze it and like freeze some of the tail ready for Cow Strike to shatter part of its tail.
Okay.
Yep, that sounds good to me.
Okay. In which case, yeah, as we slide into a Final Fantasy style cinematic of the two of you just laying into this dragonspawn, Eindrirth reels back from the final blow. And like his wing is one of his wing. Well, sorry, he's not got wings. Like some of his scales have been sort of like carved off. His clothes that he's wearing are tattered and shredded, and like one of the ends of his horns has snapped off. But he sort of like. As he reels back, he looks to the two of you and enough! He roars, and the two of you are launched backwards by this sort of like magical concussive force as he puts you in your place as he rises up. Right, I will not be denied! He bellows. That was Vanya's turn. Who wants to go next? And is it Alfrek?
Hey, Cow. Oh, I thought Cow wanted to do the potion thing.
I will do the potion whenever it's convenient. It'll be the next thing I do, but I don't need to go next. I don't think.
I can do something that might help you, Alfrek.
Yes.
If you would like. So, I've never done this before. I've never kissed a dragon before. No.
There was this fleeting moment when I thought, is that a ranger ability? Is that...
Watch the
so, I would like to make a spellcast roll to see if I can cast Wild Fortress. Please.
Okay. What does Wild Fortress
I'll tell you
do?
what. It grows a natural barricade in the shape of a dome between above me and one ally. You immediately become hidden within it, and you can reveal yourself at the top to make attacks, but you are technically from a hidden position. And the dome has its own damage threshold, so it takes all damage that me and Alfrek would take because we're inside it.
You can create a bunker. Okay, I see. I see. Okay.
It's a wild fortress. But yeah, technically, I can make a bunker.
Is it
just sit in.
Is it for one person or is it for
It's for 2 people.
2 people? Okay. By all means, please roll me a spellcast to see if you can bunker up.
My spellcast is
Fortress of Solitude.
One of these +3. It's a 15, 16, 17. Yes, it works.
Okay.
So I can go 13. Yeah.
So a natural barricade in the shape of a dome for you and one ally to hide within. Okay, so the 2 of you are hidden from view. Let me draw a little thing around you. Boop. Cool. There you are. That's your little fortress. The little green fortress.
Fabulous.
Okay.
So yeah, it essentially has its own damage threshold, so it will take hits instead of us.
Okay.
For
thankfully, so is there anything else? Are you moving or are you staying in your hut?
No, I'm going to stay in my little hut. Thank you very much.
I will take the fear that you've just rolled. I will activate Eindrirth because the 4 of you.
You can't see us. We're hidden.
This is true.
We're just a little hut.
Just a little hut.
Just a little hut.
In which case he's just bellowed enough, and he's going to look at Cal and Vanir. And it will clip the hut as well, but you probably be protected by it. Cal, Vanir, and does the hut have an instinct stat?
No.
It's just damage threshold.
It can't have fearful hallucinations either.
Sure, that's fine.
Hut hallucinations.
When it was a twig.
Okay, well, Cal and Vanir, if I can please have instinct reaction rolls, please. I don't believe he's learnt any of your fears, so Vanir's fine.
Not mine. You haven't had any of my fears yet.
Haven't had any of your fears. And Cal?
I'm gone. That's it's a roll with hope, but it's a 17, which means that it's fear time, baby.
Well, the 2 of you take, and the hut for this matter, 17 unreducible damage.
Is it halved if we saved?
No, it is completely negated. So yeah, beg pardon. Vanya, you're able to jump out the way. Cal, you will take 17 damage. The hut cannot move, so it will also take 17 damage.
No worries.
Okay.
It's still standing.
Still standing. How's Cal looking?
He's alright. He's about to drink a potion, though, so maybe I'm glad that I waited to roll the potion. So we'll see.
Eindrirth sort of like buffets you with his breath attack, and looking around, he looks to the gathered mages and "Deal with these whelps," he shouts, and he begins flying directly up away from the 5 of you. So he's now 30 feet up in the air.
Oh, wait, no. Attack of opportunity, sir. If I may.
If you may.
My agility isn't great. I have to make an agility roll. If I somehow hit though, this is going to be great. I don't want to cheese the experiences too much. So, attack of opportunity. Make an agility reaction roll. This is a reaction roll. This won't. So the hope and fear won't come into play here. Right, let's do that. Does the advantage still happen on?
Yeah, I was going to ask how is he still vulnerable?
How long does it last?
I haven't cleared the vulnerable yet, Dan.
Vulnerable lasts until next turn, so.
Advantage.
Yes. Still got advantage.
So. Vulnerable, while you're vulnerable, rolls targeting you have advantage. So, given that it's an opportunity attack against Eindrirth, I would say yes.
Yeah. So this is. Okay, let's close that a minute. Let me agility roll, normal, roll d6. Oh god.
Okay.
Only 13. It's not going to hit.
So, 13. Eindrirth. I forgot to turn him on. Eindrirth sort of like
Where's the player dice?
swats you away as he begins flying upwards.
Too far.
Who would like to go next? He's 30 foot up in the air.
Right. Can I ask if that means that anyone is now in close range of him?
Tell you what, he's within the boundary of close range. So
Okay.
he's within 30.
So if I were to fireball him now,
Yes.
that wouldn't affect anyone else.
No.
Okay. And can I use, if I may,
Yes.
be the next one to go? Can I use my experience, which is tempted by the darkness, which is I really, really do not like this dragon because he's been very mean to me.
Sure. Given that this experience was born of your interactions with Eindrirth,
Exactly,
I will say that narratively makes sense for you to use it in this instance.
Excellent.
So that'll drop you down to 2 hope.
Yes.
So it'll be a presence check plus with advantage because he's still vulnerable, plus
Your experience.
your experience.
Come on.
So that's plus another 3, I'm guessing. Your experience.
Yes, I think so. Let me just check. +2.
Plus 2. The 23 to hit.
3.
Alfrek, please roll me some damage.
Yeah.
So that is a 3d8 plus 5 is damage with fireball. So that is there is.
Damage.
Has that rolled?
Yep, that's right.
That's
Yeah,
right.
we got
That has rolled. Bear with me. Hold on one moment, please. 15 damage, eh?
He's getting the death icon ready.
So, Eindrirth has just been assaulted by Cal and Vanir. He's blown them away and then followed up with a the breath has, like, Vanir's had to dive for cover behind the crates. Cal has just taken the brunt from this breath attack. The hut that you're in, Alfrek, like, you can see it almost like withering under the magical assault as Rayree's desperately trying to kind of keep it maintained. And as you hear sort of like Eindrirth ascending towards the clouds overhead, towards the now kind of night sky. It was dusk when we started. And as he arcs away, and how do you fire your fireball? Is this the first time you've used it?
This is the first time he's used it.
Okay.
Yeah.
As you conjure this destructive magical force, like how does it work? How are you creating it?
I feel like this is the first thing he's created that kind of doesn't have anything to do with his violin. His violin is still sort of in his hand, doesn't play it to conjure it. It just sort of conjures in front of him. And it's all of his desire to do good by his friends and to be an adventurer, and his panic because his home is literally just in that direction. And his parents are going to be very, very disappointed in him, no matter what he does. So it's this desire to prove the voice in his head wrong, and it just sort of fires up.
So as this gravely wounded, recently reborn, like reconjured dragonspawn makes his escape, as this mote of fire that maybe looks somewhat similar to the floating lava orbs of Merethesos, as that arcs towards him, Eindrirth turns his serpentine head to look down at you, and there's this look of triumph upon his face. But then he notices this arc of fire racing towards him. Georgia, explain to me how this happens.
I imagine when you explode a dragon, we're talking big firework. Even a dragon of sort of darkness and bad dreams and all of those fun hallucinations. I imagine the impact. It's like suddenly the night sky is daytime.
Okay.
Briefly.
Okay. Yeah, in which case this orb of fire burrows into the form, the freshly recreated form of Eindrirth. And as Eindrirth looks to you, there's a flicker of confusion upon his face for a moment, and then perhaps an emotion that Eindrirth himself hasn't felt for quite some considerable time, which is ironic given that it's his chief weapon, but there is a flash of fear across the dragonspawn's face as there, like, his torso, his midriff, it tears in two from the magical explosion. And as he screams, as he's bisected by the fireball, the scale from the rip, the scales begin to peel away, burning under the fiery assault of the fireball. The smoke and fumes then kind of dissipating into arcane mana as Eindrirth is torn apart on a mana-ly level. And as he sort of like peels away, and you see like the neck disappears, and his head begins to crisp away, you hear this long echoing and then there is silence as the night sky illuminates, as the core mana center, like the mana core of Eindrirth erupts, and his ether is scattered across the sky as the light from the explosion disappears. What looks like shooting stars hurtling into the night sky are all that's left of the dragonspawn of Seldavon. As you peer up at the now night sky, you can see what appear to be shooting stars, the last arcane remnants of this the last divine remnants of this dragonspawn, firing across the now night sky. And as you feel this sense of relief wash through you, and this weight kind of lift from your shoulders, you hear the sound of, like, you hear a cry drenched in like misery and anguish. And as you turn to look, you can see that the gathered cultists are looking up at the spot where their lord Eindrirth once was, and now his form has been seemingly utterly obliterated. They look up and there's a chorus of wails, led first and foremost by Archmagister-elect Gannis Moran. And as Gannis lowers his head from Eindrith's last location to the five of you, he scans the five of you and then spies you, Alfrek, kind of half protruding from Rayri's natural magical bunker. And as he shouts, like, you see his face twist and contort, and "You," he says, and as he surges, like, rises to his feet and surges to seemingly throw hands, who gets in his way?
Oh no. Actually, one of the protectors, I think, would do it.
I was going to say, because I'm behind him.
Yeah, let Azkel do it.
Yeah,
I would
definitely.
say I'm going to come up behind him and sort of thwack him in the back of the head to sort of knock him out.
In which case, yeah, he takes one step, and then the four of you spy Azakar just pommel strike to the back to the temple, and the mage, like, Gannis's eyes just like roll into the back of his head, and he just slumps to the ground in a crumple. And like the cultists who seemingly have lost the will to fight, they stop and look around, and you, like, Alfrek, you notice that the commoners of Seldavon have, like, now that the threat has been eliminated, a lot of them have sort of like beginning to emerge from hiding spots and sort of like peering out from behind closed doors. And there's this murmuring and mumbling that's beginning as they begin to step out into the open. Is it gone? Have they defeated it? Oh, the portals are closed. Is everything fixed? Is that Alfrek? Did Alfrek do this? You hear the voices mutter amongst your fellow townsfolk. And some of the more... You watch then as some of the more boisterous townsfolk then sort of like turn their attentions towards the cultists of Wenda-Hai that just sort of like stood mingling in a group, and what can only be described as an incensed kind of mob justice is dispensed as the civilians kind of descend on these cultists who just can't, like, their willpowers are shattered enough that they can't put up a decent fight before the mob kind of falls on them. And before long, the five of you stand in amongst a crowd of thankful townsfolk of Seldavon. The muffled cries of protestation from the kind of bound and gagged cultists that are propped up around the now ruined remains of Archmage Ulick's commemorative statue in the centre of the town square. Alfrek, my boy, says one of the commoners. We didn't realise you were an explorer. Did you come all this way to save us? You certainly are. I appreciate the cut of your jib, son. You hear one trader say. And as the sort of like as the accolades, as the praises from the townsfolk are kind of showered upon you, Alfrek, whose voice do you hear first? Your mother's or your father's?
Oh, no. The presence. He senses the presence. Probably his mother's. And he would like very much to sink back down into the invisible hut.
What three adjectives describe your mother? Your mother's temperament?
Protective.
Mm-hmm.
Protective. And overprotective.
Okay. In which case, you hear Alfrek Stormhawk cut through the crowd. And the four of you watch as Alfrek has, cyan, like sky blue scales, and you seemingly watch the colour drain from his cheeks, I would assume. Please take a fear. And the crowd parts. What heritage is your mother? Is she Lorivar, Asavar?
I think she's Asavar.
Asavar, okay. You see this, the four of you see this well-dressed, kind of maintained Asavar woman scurry into the centre of the crowd, tailed by who you assume to be her Asavar husband. And the two of them are staring daggers at you, Alfrek. What is this? What's this? What are you doing? Are those explorers? We've been looking for you for days. Where have you been, Alfrek? Your mother's just stumbling over her words.
I came back. Hello.
As you sort of respond, you are not met with any sense of joy or relief from either of your parents. And your father, get here right now, boy. You come with us. We're going to take you. We are going to have a stern talking when we get back to the manor. Your father says, it's so irresponsible of you to be bandying yourself around with this sort, he says, kind of waving his hand at the other gathered explorers.
Is there a possibility of, if we're all hearing this?
Yeah.
I mean,
are the four of you just biting your bottom lips?
No. I think you would have probably saw Vanya was trying to look for a horn or meat of anything that came from the dragon and feeling really disappointed of not finding any sort of dragon to cook. And then obviously hearing this, it's immediately oh, and just turns around and comes behind, looming behind, to give Alfrek moral support and put a hand on the shoulder. It's Alfrek, are these your fine parents?
Yes, they are. Mama, Papa, these are my friends.
Your mother clutches at her at her chest. If she had pearls, she would be clutching those. Friends, Alfrek, you can't be friends with these ruffians. They're explorers. They get into trouble. They get into danger. They prostrate themselves. This is not the company for an individual of your caliber, she says.
And it is because of Alfrek here that your town and your lives are safe. I think you owe Alfrek your thanks, do you not?
The two parents look at one another, and your father doesn't respond. He just sort of holds a hand out, seemingly to sort of try and grab your wrist, Alfrek, you have memories of being kind of pulled home from the town, from places like the town square in your younger childhood, and the four of you, as this Asavar, this more slightly older Asavar man leans forward. He's probably, would we say, roughly about Cal's age?
Yeah, Cal is Papa.
Okay. As this hand reaches forward, the four of you watch as this band, seemingly this sort of like band of silvery light, appears around Alfrek's father's wrist, like outstretched wrist, and his Alfrek, like Lord Stormhawk, like stops suddenly, and as he looks at this kind of swirling band of silvery runes, the four of you turn to look to see from a silvery portal a white-haired Lorivar Archmage emerges, and as Archmage Meridius looks to the five of you, he kind of looks around at the gathered crowds. He looks at the remains of the statue, and then looks down to the cultists of Wenda-Hai, bound and gagged by his feet. I apologise if I overstepped. The Magister begins. Alfrek, is this gentleman causing you any issue?
No, I'm quite fine. I'm with my friends. And he steps back quickly towards the gang.
In which case, yeah, your father turns to this new arrival, this Lorivar mage that's just emerged from a portal, and unhound me right now, he says, and he starts kind of guffing and guffawing. And Meridius, with a flick of the wrist, the restraint disappears from your father's hands. I apologise if I was a bit too brash, but it would seem that it is a time for celebration rather than chastisement. It would seem that these 5 upstanding explorers have done a pretty good job. As Meridius says that, portal guards from the concourse filter out from behind him. They begin gathering up the bound cultists that the citizens have seen to. And Meridius just sort of like looks to the 5 of you with a smile. And as with a smile, your parents, Alfrek, your parents are sort of taken aback, given that everyone seems to be almost like siding against them. And then you hear one of the commoners shout, "Yeah, leave the boy alone! Leave him alone!" And you're like, in a confused kind of stupor, your parents look round as suddenly the crowd begins sort of like cheering for you specifically, Alfrek, as well as the other 4 of you. They just saved our town. Where the hell were you? And support quickly grows to the point where your parents sort of like shrink back into themselves and step away from the baying masses. And Meridius just sort of like smiles and laughs, and he looks to the 5 of you and says, "I'll leave the portal open for as long as I need to. Come through when you're ready." And then as he turns to leave, you see him whisper something to someone. And then as he steps through the portal, this civilian who's just been whispered to by an Archmagister turns around, and you see them whisper something to someone else. You're not entirely sure if something magical has just happened or if it's something, just much more mundane. But Alfrek, you start to hear the ripples through the crowd, the murmurs through the crowd of, I mean, maybe he could be the mayor. Maybe he should be the mayor. And yeah, as you watch as Meridius's form kind of disappears through this silvery veil, onto the streets of Avonmore. And as the crowd kind of raise up in celebration, the 5 of you are lauded for your victory. And like they begin chanting your names in sequence in a like Alfrek, Alfrek, Azaka, Azaka. As the cultists are carted away. And for any of you who would like to stay, the townhouse that you are stood in front of very quickly opens its doors to throw a celebratory party of sorts in your collective honours for saving the town of Seldavon from this draconic threat. And as you are celebrating, are there any moments that we would like to zoom in on between the 5 of you?
I immediately want to dress Alfrek quickly. Just like,
They undress Alfrek. What did you say?
I mean, if there are artists out there, Vanya will go up to Alfrek and say, "I'm sorry to butt in there, but I just wanted to know that we had your back. I'm not used to wishy-washy people like that, but are you okay?"
I am. Yes. I don't think I've ever been more okay than when I've been traveling with you.
What you did there proves you are needed, wanted, and worth every fiber of your being. You are a true explorer, and we are proud to have you on our side. And he just throws a hand, like as a sign of respect, like he does with the Azkar, as you've seen in the past of the hand class. He's got a hand out to give you his respect.
Alfrek takes it, and then he just pulls you into like the tightest hug.
Oh, yeah. He just lifts you up in like a merriment, like he's now ready to start letting loose a bit and enjoy this merriment, and hopefully take your mind of any ill-givens that you might have been feeling from your parents, and just let you have this moment of, this is for you, this is your time, and enjoy it.
Anyone else? Any touching moments?
Azakar is going to go up to Rayri, and we didn't have much time to talk, but that new move, that thing with dog, jump off.
Yeah, bounce and chomp.
Bounce and chop. Don't ever do that to me again. Don't even think about it. You tell me next time you want to do that.
Yeah, but the whole point is that it's like...
No. You tell me next time.
And you're really tall, and Vinny just...
It's a good move. Don't get me wrong.
If you wanted to do
tell
it
me
with...
next time.
Oh.
I can do it next time.
You can, yeah, that's what's up. You give it a go, and you'll see that it's not. It's like a spur. It's like you're like, whoa, let's just let's bounce. It's not like, oh, can I bounce? It's just
you get one.
One more.
One more.
Just like spits on her hand. It just like instantly like turns like just dissipates from the heat of her hand, and she just shakes on it. One more.
Okay. Shakes your hand. What is it with you lot and shaking hands? Don't get.
Amazing. So, Cal, how are you dealing with the festivities?
He was quite injured, so I think he's a bit not shy about it. He's very happy that they're being celebrated, but he's more in the case of, I need to have another healing potion, and my armor is really bad. The soldier never leaves you once you realise you feel unprotected. So he's probably tried to be kind of out of the way, just to kind of clean himself up, and but very relieved everyone is safe. And I think he was certainly afraid. I think near the end there, I think he did roll with fear at one point, and I think that stress that they might not make it out of that fight was apparent for him. So he's not being distant purposefully, but he's just not very used to the attention.
Okay.
But he's happy.
Okay, in which case, you, like, as you're just sort of like watching and taking it all in, you've seen Alfrek just be effectively the centre of attention for the majority of the evening. Alfrek, you are unable to move without bumping into someone that wants to sing your praises, seemingly. But yeah, you are approached by the town registrar, a relatively short Laravar woman, and as she approaches you, she Alfrek, dear, amazing stuff that you've done. I wouldn't want to disrupt the festivities now, but when we have a moment, there is something that I would like to speak to you about regarding your future within the town. You see, a rather fortunate position of authority has become vacant over the last few weeks or so, but with the passing of our dear mayor at Archmage Ulick's mansion not all that long ago. But in case you were planning on staying around, perhaps we could discuss business matters, she says.
And he hesitantly puts a hand on her shoulder, in the same way that his friends had done. I'm flattered, obviously, but I'm afraid I already have a job, a role. I'm an adventurer, you see. And he nods at her, and he turns back into the crowd. The registrar kind of, well, yes, she says, and she's got, like, you can see she's wearing a smile, but her eyes kind of betray her true kind of feeling. She does look genuinely disappointed. Of course, I mean, if you weren't such a proficient explorer, then perhaps we might not even be having this conversation. Every single one of Alfrek's failed rolls just flash before his eyes as he turns away.
She smiles and nods, and please enjoy yourself, she says. And as she sort of like disappears back into the crowd, Cal, what reaction have you got on your face as you see kind of Alfrek just being the centre of attention? Like
proud
this.
Papa, very proud. Knew he had it in him. He's seen it before with soldiers back in the war, where there were young men eager to fight but didn't have the confidence or experience, and being given the opportunity to shine helps them realise how special and important they are.
Yeah.
It does take time, and sometimes it comes with tough love, and sometimes it just comes with opportunity, and he's glad that Alfrek has been able to see how valued he is, not just by his friendship group, but outside that as well.
As the night presses on, and slowly starts coming to an end, the five of you are all aware of the lonely kind of silvery portal in the town square that is currently being guarded by a concourse portal kind of mage guard who has been thanklessly just stopping boozed up patrons from sort of like staggering through the portal into the concourse of Avamore. But yeah, as the party begins winding down, are there any spotlights between you and someone else that we zoom in on? Like as the feeling that your adventure is now firmly at an end.
I think Riri at just some point will come up to Alfrek, just kind of as the night's winding down, and just kind of like, I imagine they're just kind of sitting down, just like the party's just kind of getting over. She just comes and sits next to him and just like takes his hand, even though his hand's probably much bigger than her little hands. She just kind of clasps his little hands, and she's just, family doesn't always have to be blood. And if you don't feel like your family is very, like, the best family that you could be, then we could always be your family. Me, Vinny, Cal, maybe has a car. He's kind of like a kind of bumpy uncle, really.
I do rather want to impress him, I find.
Yeah, you get that from him. But, he'll tell you off, but he's harmless, really. He said, I'm not allowed to jump off of him anymore, but, I'll do it like 10 times and he still let me do it. I know he will. Because he'll just let you do things, and he thinks he's in charge, but he's not really.
Alfrek, who has thought he's been in charge, Azakar has been in charge this entire time, just sort of...
So, just don't... family's what you make it. So... But don't give up on them. I think, they'll come around. They're just scared. They just love you and they're scared, I think.
I know. I did rather run off without telling them and then lie copiously to continue travelling with you, and then I didn't open their letter when it came, and yes, now that I say it, that wasn't... that might have been an understandable action from them.
Yeah.
However, I feel travelling with you all these last, however long it's been, I do feel like I have an extended family now.
Good.
Where does the camera move to next? Who's talking to who?
I think Cal will seek Azkar out at some point. Very near the end. I imagine there's drinks around. Mm-hmm. And just... No, I think there'll be a moment where... I don't think Cal drinks a lot anyway, but I think just very, very calmly and kind of without much fuss, which he thinks is probably the best way to approach this. Cal will be like, I wonder if you'd like to have a drink together, just the two of us at some point, without the children, if you'd like.
Sure, yes. That would be nice. Your apprentice, he's done well.
Yeah, I suppose so. He got there eventually, but he's grinning very much so, as he says so.
Vanya, is there anyone you're kind of speaking to as an aside, or are you just kind of watching this very oddly standoffish, like, heart to heart between Cal and Azakar?
See, in my headcanon right now, I'm seeing this two, like, beautiful moment between these two fine gentlemen. And I feel like just at the cusp of that finishing, Vanya just comes in like, patting you both on the back, and he seems to have two cooked fine skewers of a meat of some kind that he's obviously just whipped and cooked and prepared, ready for you two to chow down on. And also, in the other hand, he seems to have some sort of bandages ready for Cal.
Well, of course we're enjoying ourselves, but you might want to eat up before we make the journey back. And I'm no good. I know basic care,
I
but
can do
I
it.
think this is probably better in Azakar's hands. But here you go, Cal. But I'm lost for words, but I just want to let you lads know that I look up to you both. And I can't think of better gentlemen to fight alongside with.
And raising, going to get some drinks, he is like to pass round. It's like,
May we continue to fight alongside one another as explorers, eh?
and raises a tankard in an acknowledgement to you both.
Azakar, who's been really bad all campaign with taking compliments, tries to sort of push down that initial sort of feeling that he usually gets when someone compliments him, and just goes,
Thank you. I wouldn't like anything more.
In which case, with the sounds of tankards kind of clattering together, Vanya is more forcefully than perhaps the other twos.
Still, the other glasses smashed. Everyone's.
I've got my gauntlets on. Hold on.
The clock, like, time moves forward. The celebration has largely kind of died out. There are a few party stalwarts that are doing their absolute best to kind of keep the bar going, but the five of you acknowledge that, you know, the night has come to an end, and we find the five of you stood in front of the silvery portal that has been dutifully open all this time. And yeah, as the five of you kind of look at one another, the full moon overhead illuminates everything in this kind of beautifully kind of blue-grey glow, and you can't quite tell if the stars are just kind of abnormally more lustrous tonight, or if that is a lingering effect of the residual mana in the air from Eindrirth. But as you peer through the portal, like through the veil, onto the quiet streets of Avamore, who is stepping through in preparation for their next adventure? Is Azakar returning to Avamore?
yeah, Azakar is returning to Avamore.
Rayri?
Yeah.
Vanya?
Others.
Cal?
Absolutely.
And Alfrek?
Yeah.
Okay. In which case, the mage guard nods a head of acknowledgement as the five of you have kind of said your goodbyes and made yourselves ready. And as he steps aside to allow you access to the portal, in turn punctuated by a lurch, a now familiar lurching in the stomach as you're flung through boundless seas of ether to arrive on the cobblestone streets of Avonmore. One by one, you step through, leaving the sleepy little town of Seldavon saved behind you. One year later. Where do we find Azakar?
You probably find Azakar still in the Temple of Aya in Avonmore. He is again sort of just prepping himself. I'm guessing he has like some sort of dorm room there. He's prepping himself for another adventure. He is you can see in his face that he's softened a bit. He doesn't look at his weapons with such determination anymore. He sort of looks at his gear and he sort of has a small smile on his face as he knows that he's prepping again for another sort of outing with whoever that might be.
Okay.
And he has just gathered his stuff and he is leaving the Temple of Aya to make his way to the concourse on another explorer mission.
Okay. Yeah, the morning is... I would imagine the morning is young. Dawn is only recently broken and the sky is beginning to... The night sky is slowly giving way to day. And as you sort of like are... As you just stepped out of the large open doors, always open doors of the Grand Temple of Aya in the Crown District, as you're about to descend down the marble steps, you see that sort of like halfway up there is this large kind of broad-shouldered figure shrouded in a shawl, like a tattered traveller's shawl, and the figure, like you can just tell from the body language, the figure seems to be in a bit of an emotional, some sort of mental bind, like she doesn't know whether to take another step up the steps or turn and leave. And like breaking from her like indecision, this figure looks up to you, and under the hood is this older yellow-scaled dragon set. And as she looks at you, she has this look of like you can tell she's torn by something on these steps.
Can I help you, sister?
The dragon scent woman kind of mumbles for a little bit before clearing her throat and, "Are you part of this?" she says, and she gestures to the temple behind you.
I am a seraph here.
You are an adherent of Aya.
I am indeed, yes. You look troubled. May I help?
I have been lost for some time. In more ways than one. And during that time, I found my faith tested. Tell me, what does Aya mean to you? What does she mean to the people of this city?
Once upon a time, Aya meant devotion, whatever the cost. But after reflecting, and I get the feeling that this has been a conflict in your own mind, that Aya wants us to find our new way in this world, in this new elsewhere. And that you may have lost your path once upon a time due to the confusion of the eschaton. It did not just break this world, it also broke us. But people have found each other, and people have mended each other. And that's what I believe Aya wants, for us to mend each other. And I think you'll find this at this temple, if that's what you seek.
As you finish and then look back, look this dragon scent woman in the eyes, I guess it might be slightly surprising that this rather stoic, stern-looking face just suddenly breaks into open weeping. I only hope she will have me back, she says. And as she nods in thanks to you, and you see her sort of like pull her hands to her breastbone, and as her shawl kind of moves aside, you see that hanging around her neck is this tarnished symbol of Aya that you just have a feeling was discarded and then rediscovered. Thank you, stranger. Thank you, she says, and she goes to step past you and head up into the temple.
Azakar almost stops to sort of help her up, but kind of reads the feeling that she wants to do this by herself. So he sort of stops for a moment and then sort of pulls himself back and bows and heads back on his way. Good luck.
The dragon scent woman smiles and heads up into the temple. Where do we find Rayri?
I think you would say it'll be.
Yeah. Where?
Yeah. You don't know what I'm gonna say, Daniel.
Yeah.
The camera is, it's early morning, and you see that Rayri is she has a small, maybe like little apartment somewhere, like a little like this. She's her little home base where she's finally found somewhere to kind of live, and she's living kind of in her own little independent little life. And she sort of gets up and she's just kind of giving Vinny a breakfast, and you can see behind her what looks like a very sort of incomplete kind of sort of maps, drawings, and other things which all have sort of red X's on, where she's kind of everywhere she's been, she's crossed out as an option, and she just kind of scruffles Vinny's hair, and she's just like, maybe we'll find where we came from on the next adventure. We'll find it soon enough. Don't you worry. And Vinny's just like, and as she's like, well, better get to work. And as she comes down the steps, you see that she's living above Tippy Taps. And she kind of puts on a large sort of harness onto Vinny, and she goes out and she attaches him to a small cart in which she starts piling on the new service, which is Tippy Taps Delivered.
Okay.
And she has a little list of things. She's like, well, we've got to get all these deliveries done, Vinny, before we've got to meet the guys over the adventurers. So we've got... Go on, better be fast. She just kind of gets on, and off they go, and they start their rounds to go and deliver Tippy Taps Delivered.
You, like, as you're saying this, you could just hear the sounds of Tiber Fisby, who's like decided to stick around in Avonmore, just like shouting out orders as this veritable army of sprites is sort of like cobbling away, making shoes of all shapes and sizes, but mostly small. And yeah, so you're. So you've got a delivery system. You're doing a delivery service for Tippy Taps. And
yeah, which in our downtime,
as an explorer.
Yeah, which she kind of set up, and I think she's taking like just some, just like, you know, she's a busy bee, and any time that she isn't adventuring, she's delivering for Tippy Taps. Who knows when she sleeps? Sure. But so, and she just.
Well,
yeah.
In which case, as you and Vinny on the cart, sort of like trundling down the street, as you pass by the Crown by the concourse, you hear through the crowds a very very definitive, very easily recognisable voice, and you glance over and then specifically kind of look down towards more towards the ground. No, I'm telling you, if this is one of the best jobs that we've had. I mean, there's going to be lots of treasure. There's going to be lots of this. Oh, and as you spy them, you see Capuline Fisby and Montana Fyram, who are still exploring as a duo, and Montana is excitedly, so this Auron sprite is excitedly sort of like holding a map, and it's got, you even from this distance you can see a big red X on it. She's like, so, I'm told that the ruins are here, and then if we find it, if we get there first, we're going to be small enough that we can find all the holes that the big people can't get into, and there's going to be also like people who strange down the back of seats and the like, and so imagine what it's going to be like in a ruined temple of sorts. And then you watch as the two sprites kind of like skip off excitedly towards the concourse.
I love those little housemates.
Best buddies.
Best buds.
And yes, you then kind of trundle off to deliver your next set of shoes. Where do we find Alfrek?
I think you find Alfrek either with Cal or with some newer explorer recruits running sword drills with his rapier very excitedly in the training grounds. I think it is. Is it the training? He's there. I think he's taller. He's looking a bit more battered, a little bit more scarred than he did a year ago, but he's looking confident in himself, and he's still got his violin strapped to his back.
Okay. So how many rough estimate? How many adventures have you been on over the past year, and have they been primarily with Cal, or have you been striking out on your own?
I think he's been on as many as he can. He's sort of taken the win that they got the year ago to just strike out as much as he can, just see as much as he can, to learn as much as he can, because he's realised quite abruptly that the world of books is not the world of reality, especially since the eschaton. So he's put his mind to learning what the world actually is and how he can help it. And I think it's brought him a lot of confidence.
Okay. And was there a particular sort of like elevated role within the Explorer Society that you absolutely couldn't turn down when it was offered to you? Like,
I think he's taken the group around him to heart, and any new young explorer, especially an explorer that he's sort of seen that twinkle in their eye that he reckons.
Okay.
He's tried to take under his wing, even though his wing is still very, wet behind the ears and still very excitable himself. He is trying his best.
Are you like self-appointed like orientation?
Yes.
Person? Yeah.
Doesn't always give the right instructions, but by God is he willing and eager.
Amazing. Okay, amazing. Yeah, in which case, you watch as sort of like some of the new recruits that you've kind of advised and kind of shown the sights to, that their wonder of the city is always kind of heartening to see, as you almost kind of see your relatively recent past mirrored back at you from these new recruits, and certainly over the space of the last year, you would have kind of seen that you spent a lot of time with these with these four in particular, but yeah, just the power of community that's being fostered by the explorers. And there's the cheers of celebration every time a new expedition is finalized. You remember just how much hubbub there was when about 6 months ago it was a whole city that just reappeared just off the coast of New Prosper, a town called Elysia, and the Elysians that have since kind of started to flood into Avamore, they've been, they're a bit of a different sort, but the wonder in their eyes that they just seemed so much more fascinated by the society that was being kind of created, seemingly with explorers at their heart. So yeah, it's been, I would imagine it'd be quite heartening to see. But you also mentioned Cal. So what's Cal been doing for the last year?
When we zoom in on Cal, he seems a lot more relaxed. He seems a bit more. He definitely looks less intimidating. He's still the same old Cal, but there is a sense that he's a bit more calm, a bit easier to talk to. And when we see him today, he's actually visiting a shrine. I think he's lighting a candle somewhere in the center of town. But it's not a sad occasion. He's thinking fondly about the people he loves. And he knows, Alfrek's got all the new recruits covered. He doesn't have to worry about that anymore. Once upon a time, maybe. But he looks happy.
Do we imagine that this shrine, is it a shrine to people who you've loved and lost? Is it a place of memorial?
Yeah, I think it's a memorial place that's been set up.
So perhaps
in town.
it's maybe a shrine to Barahan, the soul guide, or maybe even Ulavari, the twin gods of life and death. But let's say Barahan, this shrine that's just covered in these small lit candles. There's kind of melted wax all over the place, and as you light your candle and place it down, who is it you're thinking of?
I'm thinking of Pendry, but I'm also thinking of family members he never got to really say goodbye to, and thinking about the family he has now gained and the love he has now gained.
In which case, as you as you're quiet with your eyes closed, you you hear like another match strike from next to you, and as you kind of open one eye to see who it is that's also kind of doing the same thing as you, you spy a dusky skinned Lorrivar man. He's quite old, he's quite elderly. He's got perhaps the one thing you notice is that he's got a remarkably well maintained moustache that kind of twirls slightly at the ends.
Very good.
And as sort of like as this Lorrivar man spies you, kind of looking at him, he says, "Oh, I'm sorry. I did not mean to disturb you. I was just I didn't. This is one of my first times in Avermore. It's quite a city. It's much bigger than where I'm normally kept cooped up. Victor. My name is Victor. Good, pleased to meet you." He says, and he holds his hand up.
Hi, Victor. I'm Cal. Welcome.
Very good, very good. Yeah, well, sorry, I'm probably talking a bit too much for something this somber. So, I'll leave you to your silence. He says, and he sort of like awkwardly kind of turns back and then sort of like nods appreciatively to you, and then he sort of like you see him almost like clench his eyes shut, and he's almost like he's mouthing something, like silently. It feels like it looks like a man who doesn't really know how to handle what he's doing, but he wants to do it well. And certainly quicker than it takes you to kind of to give your thoughts to Pendry. You then hear "Bye," and the Lorrivar man kind of strides out, or strides out of the town, the shrine alongside you, leaving you alone to your thoughts. What do we find Vanya doing?
So, I imagine the camera at this point pans down, not in Avermore, but on a expedition of some kind, deep in some jungle terrain. We see a group of various guardians with some shields up at the ready, trying to defend themselves against a vicious beast called a Panthera-strix, which is a large panther-like creature with wings on each arm, forearm, so it can sort of glide and fly, but with like onyx shiny scales that then turn to fur on its body. And this is probably like a beast that has plagued the explorers of this particular area for some time. It's just been a real thorn in the explorers of Elsewhere's side. And we see this moment of a tense moment of people trying to sort of pin the creature into a corner to keep it in place. As the creature's about to lunge and strike, you see from jumping off of the top of a tree branch, arcing down, Vanya coming down with a punch, shouting out, "Blizzard Hammer!" as he comes arcing down with his windy, blizzardy strike of his gauntlet, kicking down on the top of this creature's head, dealing the final blow to finally put this creature to rest. With everyone then safe as cheering, and then the camera then quickly switches again to Vanya taking time to take what he needs from the creature, the special different kinds of leather and scales that could be used to repurpose for equipment and research for the explorers, certain the meat for experimenting with his cooking. And we see him wiping sweat off his brow as he's trying to carve out this creature that he's never slain before, which is finally being put down.
Okay. As you are hacking into what was the Panther Strix?
It's a Panthera Strix.
Panthera Strix. So as you're carving into the flank of the Panthera Strix, and yeah, you wipe in a real Diet Coke style advert style way. Stood next to you, hands on hips. The figure just kind of blinks a few times and then says, "So, do you always shout that name of the move every time you use it?" And Gembrick the goblin just sort of like looks. I could imagine that it's not always the most subtle thing to do, you know?
And as he finishes carving this particular piece and wipes the blade on a bit of cloth, he turns to regard his long, companion from the guild, and is like, "But it's pretty cool, is it not? I'm still workshopping the name, different positions of different angles of strike of the fist. I'm workshopping, but when you shout out the name, it just sounds really cool."
I guess.
You should try it sometime. I bet you got a trick up your sleeve that you might be able to shout out at the top of your lungs to slay a creature. I bet you're a dark horse.
Gemrick sort of like looks to you, and he's got this slightly bemused, confused look on his. Like, he always looks a bit gormless at the best of times, but he's just sort of like his head nodding is making his whole like upper body rock with it, and he just maybe I'll give it a try, maybe, he says, and he just sort of like slowly starts walking, like stepping away from you, like stepping backwards away from you.
Give us some thought.
Yes, and Gemrick returns to the other explorers in your sort of like adventuring party. Amazing. In which case, Vanya, as you kind of pull up this pristinely carved flank of meat, behind you, you hear this like a really rapid flapping, and as you turn, you see what appears to be this translucent silver. It's a small bird. It's a hummingbird like, but it's somewhere between a hummingbird and say a robin. But yeah, it's decidedly translucent, but it's just sort of like flapping stationarily by your head. And seeing it, you like there's a bit of a because you know what it means. And on the back of a large Chihuahua pulled cart, at the bottom of the steps of the temple of the Grand Temple of Aya, in the explorers kind of HQ, 4 more of these silver birds materialize to like by each of your heads respectively, to get your attention. And as you all turn to look at these birds, you all recognize them as the call to arms, if you will, of Archmagister Meridius Redan. Because of all of the explorers, you are some of his more favoured. And it would seem that the 5 of you are called to more adventure. And as we pull away from Avermore, Elsewhere, the stench of panic permeates the dark hall. The gurgle and dying breaths filtering through the air. An elderly, a middle-aged Lorivar priest desperately tries to pull himself up the small flight of stairs to an altar upon which lays a blood-splattered sigil of Kervotha, the Sundered one of the dragons killed during the war. And as this betrayer priest turns round with the tip of a javelin protruding from his now collapsed lung, he looks down in panic as with a heavy swoop, an axe blade bisects the head of one of his adherents. And as the priest, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? He says to the figure in the dark. A heavy, slow footstep reverberates out, paired with the sound of the bloodied axe blade scraping across the stone temple floor. Everything you taught us was a lie. We gave faith to gods that die as easily as the mortals. We gave everything to our deities. And what has it brought us? The figure says, as his blackened, spiked armor is illuminated in the soft, flickering candlelight on the altar. And as he stands over the priest, you are one of his champions. Why would you turn from Kervotha? Why now? And from behind a full-face helmet, a lock of blood-red hair spills out from the bottom. The world's spirits were born of mortals. Mortals birthed divinity, which must mean mortals are made of divinity. It is not a gift for the dragons alone. No. They are usurpers of mortal power. And I, he says, as he slowly begins to raise the axe above his head, I intend to take it back. And with a scream cut short, the axe blade embeds into the priest. Congratulations, everyone, on completing Explorers of Elsewhere Live Tales from Elsewhere. We did it!
Hey.
Woo! Yay!
Woo, there we are. All done. All finished. Congratulations, the 5 of you, on completing the campaign, and congratulations to you on making it and joining us all the way through to the end. I see some of you in the chat, and I appreciate and love each and every one of you. Yeah, we've been playing for a while, as we said at the beginning of the live stream, but this is certainly not the last stop. A little while ago, at the tail end of 2024, we finished campaign 2, and I'm pleased to announce, and we'll do a proper announcement video as well, that campaign 3 has a new start date. And it's going to be... I should probably bring up the calendar before I said this. It's going to be... Campaign 3 is going to start on Monday, May the 19th. It will also be live. I'm also pleased to announce, not it was a secret to anyone, that it will also be a Daggerheart campaign, a full-blown 20-episode Daggerheart campaign. I'm not going to announce who's playing in it, but you should certainly keep an eye out for that announcement, because you may or may not notice a couple of familiar faces for that when it rolls through. So, yes. Exciting times. Exciting stuff. We've got loads of stuff happening between now and May. We're waiting for Daggerheart to release properly, but we've got a 12-hour live stream coming out. We've got side adventures that are being run by either myself or others. There's going to be loads and loads and loads. So, once again, if you are enjoying this, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe on YouTube if you haven't already, follow on Twitch if you haven't already, because yeah, we're going to have loads and loads of stuff to keep you entertained in the near future. Thank you, everyone, for playing. You 5 have been amazing. You've been just you've blown me away. I'm forever thankful. And thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dan.
Yes, thank you all for playing. Thank you all for watching. This has been Tales from Elsewhere, Tale 4, Dragonwrath. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.